Hey, welcome back. We're going to be talking about some more of the plague of the firstborn, and specifically about some of the things that would take place after, because God really laid out for the Israelites how this would be celebrated over time. And this really happens in verse 14 of Exodus 12. It says, "This is a day to remember. Each year from generation to generation you must celebrate it as a special festival to the Lord. This is a law for all time." So notice, all time. We're still doing this today. "For 7 days the bread you eat must be made without yeast. On the first day of the festival, remove every trace of yeast from your home. Anyone who eats bread made with yeast during the 7 days of the festival will be cut off from the community of Israel." So it shows you how serious they were about this. "On the first day of the festival, and again on the seventh day, all the people must observe an official day for holy assembly. No work of any kind may be done on these days except in the preparation of food." Okay, so this also runs over into the New Testament in that Christ was crucified. As we know, he's crucified on Friday, and that Passover Sabbath was taking place the next day. That's why they wanted to have him off the cross by 6 p.m. because that's when that festival was really beginning, and they did not want to have anybody having to touch a dead body because they would be ceremonially unclean and would not be able to participate. So they wanted to get him off the cross. They didn't leave him hanging there. It was a big deal because nobody was going to do any work in any way after 6 o'clock. He would just be hanging there. So they wanted to get him off that cross. So there's a lot of bleed over from the Passover to the crucifixion. The Passover is very symbolic of the crucifixion. So it says, "On the first day of the festival, and again on the seventh, all peoples observe official day of holy assembly. No work of any kind may be done on these days except in preparation for food." Verse 17, "Celebrate this festival of unleavened bread, for it will remind you that I brought your forces out of the land of Egypt on this very day. This festival will be a permanent law for you. Celebrate this day from generation to generation. The bread you eat must be made without yeast from the evening of the 14th day of the first month to the evening of the 21st day of that month. During those 7 days, no trace of yeast in your home. Anyone who eats anything made with yeast during this week will be cut off from the community of Israel. These regulations apply both to the foreigners living among you and to native-born Israelites. During those days, you must not eat anything made with yeast. Wherever you live, eat only bread made without yeast." So when you read verses 14, 15, and 16, and then you read 17 through 20, it's the same thing being said twice. That's really interesting when you stop and think about it. The same thing is being said twice. Why is the same thing being said twice? I think it's for emphasis. All right, God wanted them to be very sure they understood this. This was really serious business. So the Passover began on the 10th of the month. On the 14th, they ate the Passover, and that was the first day of this festival or celebration of unleavened bread. And for the next 7 days, they ate only the unleavened bread. So this was a much more than just a Passover meal that they would celebrate every year. You had the 4 days leading up with the sacrifice, with the lamb or the goat. Then you had the actual Passover meal itself. Then that began the 7 days of eating only the unleavened bread. So this was so important that God really kind of did this in stages with them to bring them to this place of remembrance and this place of celebration and a place of obedience to Him. So we'll talk some more about these passages tomorrow and look a little bit more at this.